Good morning / afternoon, college football fans, and welcome to 3 and Out College Edition right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. My goodness, what a week last week. I mean, the D1 level was crazy. Oregon pulled out the win that I didn't know if they were actually going to win. Let's just be real there. How about Washington knocking off number 11 Michigan State? Do we have a problem, Sparty? Also, another big one, A&M knocking off Miami. Are they who they thought? Are they who we thought they were? USC taking care of Fresno, Utah definitely taking care of San Diego State, and, well, lots more. Also today, plenty more great things to come. The high school football world is buzzing. We are getting close to midseason, or some of us around the country are already at midseason. Lots to get into there. Today, the Trojans take on Oregon State. Is that going to be a fun one? Or how about Texas Tech in Texas? We'll see some upsets today. Well, I'll tell you what, we got plenty of football talk here as you are officially now tuned in live to 3 and Out College Edition right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Welcome, college football fans. My goodness, this is 3 and Out College Edition right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. And my goodness, we got a show. I don't even know if we're going to take any commercial breaks today. I mean, my goodness, there's so much to get into. And, well, Teran, I think we're just going to dive right in. After I introduce, of course, this young gentleman, ladies and gentlemen, of course, is IE Sports Radio Hall of Famer. He is co-host of this show. He is host of Set Point, probably the world's quickest growing volleyball show, ever. Ever. And, of course, he is the host of the SoCal Spring Sports Show. He's just the man. Ladies and gentlemen, glad to have him here, my co-host, Mr. Teran Rodriguez. How's it going today, brother? How you doing this morning?
Yo, Larry, I'm doing good. I'm happy to be on with you, talking some college football, and it's a great Saturday morning / afternoon.
It really is. It really is. College football just getting underway right now. As a matter of fact, we're in the 9 o'clock hour over here on the West Coast, 12 o'clock hour on the East Coast. So, yeah, we're just getting underway. But, dude, last week there were some crazy games, man. Let's go ahead and just get to a quick recap of some of these games. A game that I still can't believe, man. Oregon pulled it off. Okay, Oregon got smacked by Georgia. Then, they got a little cupcake game. But, my goodness, BYU was no easy customer. They came in at 25. BYU was 12. And, well, how about this, man? Oregon puts up 41 on BYU, earning that going 2-1. How about that one, Darren?
Yeah, I was a little surprised just because BYU is fairly a good team. They're fairly underrated, but I guess they were forced out of their comfort zone when it came to playing in Austin Stadium. So, overall, I think Oregon needed this one more so than BYU, just because BYU was riding high off of their win over Baylor, their future Big Ten opponent. But Oregon honestly needed to win, just because if they had lost this one, it would have showed more cracks within the Oregon program this season, just because obviously getting smacked by Georgia, it does not leave a good taste in anyone's mouth. And you're representing one of the Power 5 conferences, so you have to get some sort of statement win before you take on some of the bigger and better teams in your conference.
Agreed. Terry, we had another upset, man. Texas A&M knocking off Miami. This one was pretty much almost a lot like Oregon and BYU. Oregon was 25, BYU was 12. Kind of funny because Texas A&M was 24 and Miami was 13. The margin wasn't as big, but still, seeing Miami fall like that, so many people want to put Miami way up on this pedestal and be like, oh yeah, they're back, the U. But, are they really that dominant because, in my opinion, if they were so good, they would have knocked off this Texas A&M team, which is a damn good football team. So, how about this one, Darren? 17-9 in College Station. Not an easy place to win for anybody. But yeah, 2-1 now on the season. That is the Hurricanes' first loss and the Aggies' second win. How about that? How about that game there, Darren?
So in my preview, I basically asked the question, or my top 5 Power 5 conference questions to ask for this season. One of the questions for the ACC was, is the U really for real? I think we finally found out our answer. Obviously, Texas A&M is tough, and they actually had Max Johnson step in as quarterback. However, I just don't understand how Miami only puts up 9 points, where Texas A&M didn't even have that many yards. Like, I'm just trying to make this make sense overall. It doesn't make sense. They only had 140 passing yards, and they only had 124 rushing yards as well. So it's like, you lost to a team that failed to put up a whole lot of offense, and your team, who didn't really play bad, you just couldn't get any touchdowns. And field goals don't really win you games. You have to win with touchdowns. So for Texas A&M, I feel this was kind of a gut check win, especially after how they lost to App State. They kind of needed this just because momentum going into the SEC. They needed this more than Miami. Miami obviously needed this because I think they could pose a threat to the ACC. But Texas A&M, they're facing some big boys in that SEC. So I really think Texas A&M needed this win after that debacle against App State. So good for Texas A&M, but it just goes to show that the U is not back.
I couldn't agree more. I know one loss isn't going to derail the season, but that loss right there says a lot. It speaks volumes. So, is what it is. Big ups to John in the chat room, John Felipe, our boy, the host of Carolina Cast here on IE Sports Radio, covering all things from Carolina. And speaking of Carolina, we got a great Carolina game going on right now, man. Wake Forest and Clemson, 2 top dogs there, man. I got to check in on that one. He gets a little bit there, but he says he's working right now, but listening to us at the same time. So thank you very much, good sir. If you guys haven't caught the Carolina Cast yet, make sure to catch it, man. Great job every week. Fridays at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. Always a great show with John Felipe. Well, Teran, last week, another one here, and this was the game of the week. Teran, what the crap, man? Is it just that Washington is better than we think? Or is it that Sparty just really is like a somewhat of a good team? Are they really a number 11 team? You know what I mean? They lost last week, 39-28. Washington brought it home, man. They played a hell of a game, winning that thing. They're now 3-0 on the season. Starting that football last week. Talk about that. I mean, just what a way to make it happen. In Washington, I mean, yeah, this game was way worse than we think it was. Let's just be real. I don't want to call it too much of garbage time because there was still some time left, but it's somewhat garbage time. I mean, Teran, going into the fourth quarter was 36-14 Washington. Then they scored again, a field goal, 39-14 with 9:19 to go. Those last 2 touchdowns, well, they turned into, I mean, they were late. 6:51 and 5:17. Okay, they were like somewhat back-to-back and everything. But this game was way worse than what it looked, man. When it was the real deal, you know, I mean, I know the game was 60 minutes, but like I said, it was like a little bit garbage time. Washington kind of smacked around Michigan State. I mean, what do you think about this game, Teran?
Yeah, it was another one of those surprising games, but I feel Michael Penix knew what to expect from Michigan State, considering he did transfer from Indiana. So I want to say I'm surprised at this just because Washington hasn't really had the best program it's had in a while. But I feel this is a bad loss for Michigan State just because I felt that they were at least going to perform well on the road just because you kind of need to perform well when you're a Big Ten team, and especially since the Big Ten just gets really tough. Washington, I've been begging to see which team can actually come out of the Pac-12 North. And I think Washington can actually emerge as a possible favorite to challenge Oregon. It's just all about if Washington can put it together. But Michael Penix has developed well as the quarterback, and I think he can lead the Huskies to possibly a Pac-12 championship. It's just all about staying on the same page and not keeping themselves too high or too low, just because Washington does have some tough matchups. Their next two matchups are tough, but I'm not going to go too far down the road. But overall, it's a very good win for Washington. Probably the biggest one in quite a while, probably in the decade.
No, I agree. I think this is going to be probably one of the marquee victories. You're right. Definitely something that Washington can build on from here. So solid game for them. So right now we have a couple games going on here. Duke and Kansas, and it's not basketball. Let's see how that one looks coming up here as well. We have here, as I mentioned, Clemson and Wake Forest. Clemson coming in at number 5. Wake Forest at number 21. I mean, that should be a pretty solid matchup right now as we got going on. So a couple of big games going. But, Teran, let's go ahead and jump back a little bit and get on in to a little bit of high school football. Well, before we do that, Teran, are there any games that you want to talk about from last week?
I don't think there are any that crossed my mind. I think we pretty much covered all the ones that were truly important. So, yeah.
Alrighty, well, that sounds good to me. I will say this, though, fight on, because man, that was a nice victory over good old buddy old pal Fresno State. I will say that.
Yeah, that was a big win. Someone I really thought stood out was Solomon Byrd defensively as he came in. He's been quite the surprise as he's forced a lot of pressure defensively, and USC kind of needs that big defensive presence felt. My only concern is possibly the offensive line. Like, the Trojans need to have a healthy O-line just so Caleb Williams doesn't scramble like he's Kyler Murray against the Raiders last Sunday. But overall, I think USC looks good. This week's going to be a big test, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
Agreed, Teran. So let's take a step back now to high school. North Shore out of Houston, Texas, got a victory last week over Beaumont United. My goodness. Actually, not last week. I am so sorry. I mean, it's considered last week, but yesterday, 62-0. Wow. They'll be taking on King next week, that, of course, is King of Houston, Texas. So that is coming on up. Next up in the high school top 10, Chandler. Good old Chandler, the Chandler Wolves out of Arizona, will actually get a pretty good victory last night over a tough team. Seguro, that's their second loss of the year, but they have a good fight, man. 31-21 final score there out of Scottsdale, Arizona. Way to fight Chandler to the end, though, there, guys. Next up, number 8, Bishop Gorman, the only team with a loss in the top 10. Of course, that loss coming from Mater Dei in week 2 of the season. Or don't know if it was 2 or 1 or 3 because of the zero week, But anyway, yesterday we had number 8, Bishop Gorman, defeating Arborview 63-0. The scores are just typical. That's Arborview's first loss of the season, by the way. Arborview coming out of Las Vegas as well. Buford, number 7, out of Buford, Georgia, will defeat Marietta 14-0. Marietta actually played very, very well in this game. I mean, to play a team that well, that magnitude. Crazy part about this one, Teran, you gotta love this Marietta Blue Devils team here, because they are 1-5 on the season. Teran, they have beaten one team this year. That is West Forsyth, 24-14, and West Forsyth, by the way, is in Cummings, Georgia. But Teran, they will have lost all of their games. But Buford, good old Buford comes to town, man, and 14-0. I get it; it's a shutout, but that says a lot, especially if you're a 1-4 team, to fight those guys and not let them score more than 14 points. Yeah, you didn't get on the board, but man, so that's actually pretty big ups in my opinion to Marietta. But we have here Buford going 5-0 now. Now we break on in, then Chaminade Madonna. They were 10 like last week, I think, Teran. They moved all the way up to number 6. These guys, man, defeated Gulliver Prep on Thursday, 28-0 on the road. Gulliver Prep out of Miami, Florida, of course. Chaminade Madonna, the Lions, out of Hollywood, Florida. Then we get into the top 5. St. Thomas Aquinas out of Florida, out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, will defeat Treasure Cove on the road, 21-7. Pretty good game there. Treasure Cove out of Port Lucie, Florida. That is actually they're also 1-4. Kind of crazy, and this is only a 14-point game as well. So the Treasure Cove Titans standing up. I love it, man. Seeing these schools. I'm pretty sure they schedule these teams, and it's like, yeah, we know they're not this big of a powerhouse. But I think it's pretty awesome that these teams fight, Teran. They freaking fight, man. I mean, they're unranked. They know a big, giant powerhouse is coming into their house, or they're going to their house, and it's like, yeah, man, there's only one thing to do. You can't take them off the schedule. You got to fight. So I love that, man. Central had a bye week, actually, and they played actually did not have a bye week. I'm an idiot. Dillard, they played Dillard tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Dillard is 2-1, and Dillard is out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, so the Dillard Panthers will be taking on the Central Rockets out of Miami, Florida. Into the top 3 now, St. Francis Academy out of Baltimore, 4-0. On the season, defeating Dutch Fork yesterday, 26-7. Dutch Fork coming out of Irmo, South Carolina, and of course St. Francis Academy out of Baltimore, Maryland. Then we have here the top 2. I mean, Teran is a surprise, but Modern Day, of course, number 2, 5-0 on the season. They will be taking on. As a matter of fact, they do have a bye week this week. So no game for them. They defeated Miliani 2 weeks ago, or last week, that is, out of Hawaii. This coming week, they'll be taking on Njcaa, a team they know all too well. It is now league time over here. So the Trinity League, they'll be taking them on at Njcaa next week on the 30th. And then in 2 weeks, my goodness, it's going to be 1 versus 2. St. John Bosco is, I don't know if they're coming to town or not. But, yeah, they are. They're coming to town for Modern Day. And, well, St. John Bosco got that victory last week. Or yesterday, I'm sorry, not last week. Yesterday here, defeating Central Catholic out of Modesto, a Northern California team, 65-0. Central Catholic is 1-4 now on the season. St. John Bosco is 1-5. I'm sorry, 5-0. I am sorry. 5-0, and they'll be taking on Servite next week at Servite, so another team that they know all too well, Trinity League action. And, well, Teran, these are in your neck of the woods, and, I guess Bellflower, L.A., but Modern Day, of course, Orange County, and Bellflower is, right on the border, if you will. So you know these teams all too well. Teran, any of these teams you want to talk about, and, of course, let's get our St. John Bosco and Modern Day talk on, man. What you got for us this week?
So this week, and being yesterday, we actually had quite a little bit of an upset as Folsom managed to take down De La Salle 24-20 last night.
Oh!
What? Yep. I want to say the first loss outside of Sarah for De La Salle since 1979, I want to say.
Whoa!
First. So it's quite incredible that Folsom was able to do so. And Folsom's actually not a bad team. They're actually in the top 100 when it comes to being nationally ranked. They're 8 spots behind De La Salle, who is 46, while Folsom is 54. So I think it's quite the big upset. Folsom's only loss is to Sarah of San Mateo, which was the team that made it all the way to the CIF State Division I championship, where they kind of got their butts handed to them by Modern Day. But and it's also the Tom Brady's alma mater. So, but Folsom winning really kind of shakes up the Northern California portion of CIF, and it's quite incredible because it kind of makes me think that De La Salle's a little on the decline, but you still can't count them out. I think Folsom Njcaa and De La Salle are your three-headed monster of Northern California. So it's going to be quite interesting to see what that's going to be like. And then, as you mentioned with St. John Bosco and Mater Dei, that will be played at the Santa Ana Bowl or Santa Ana Stadium. It's not going to be played at SoFi just because I think both teams agreed that they wanted to play, at least Mater Dei wants to play at the Santa Ana Bowl instead of SoFi Stadium, which I really would have liked to see both teams play at SoFi, but it's what can you do? I mean, maybe they can have like CIF finals there or something like that, even though I think they're going to have it at the Rose Bowl this year. So overall, I think that's pretty much it. We mentioned Trinity League as well. Njcaa is kind of flying under the radar, but I still think Mater Dei should be able to take care of them. Not to say anything bad about Njcaa. I think they're still a good team. It's just that Mater Dei is like miles ahead of them. And then third by St. John Bosco is a rematch of last year's CIF Southern Section Division I semifinals. The Friars have been a little bit down this season as they suffered a tough loss to Helix last night. So it's going to be a rough one for the Friars. But that good strength of schedule could land them into the playoffs. It just depends on which division, just because at the end of the season, everyone looks at, or the CIF Southern Section Committee and Cal Preps look at the strength of schedule, the wins and losses, and then they put every team in like certain divisions, depending on who deserves to make it.
Great stuff there, Teran, and hats off to Folsom, man. Wow, that was impressive. Crazy stuff up there in NorCal, man. Currently, right now, by the way, number 5, Clemson has scored on number 21, Wake Forest, 7-0 with 7:22 to go in the first quarter here. So that touchdown coming from a guy that I think we know just a little bit, Teran, just a little bit. But a guy, speaking of St. John Bosco, that used to play quarterback at St. John Bosco, and that, of course, is Mr. Uyunglele, of course, DJ Uyunglele, great dude, and, he is, he's doing well. He had a pass to Bringing Stool for 12 yards, and, well, Potter will get the extra point, and it's 7-0 now, Clemson leading with, that was with 8:09 to go, so they just scored that touchdown over there, so more to come from that game. So, Teran, we, of course, are going to roll on in to a little bit of junior college action in the CCAA. Teran, last week, man, just kind of crazy, not kind of. It was crazy. My goodness. We had San Mateo just doing away with Modesto, man. Modesto's usually they're up there. They're 1-2, though, for the season. And San Mateo, speaking of NorCal, San Mateo, 35-14, man, at home, just did away with Modesto, like, easily, man, it seemed. But, yeah. Mount San Jacinto College, which is like right here, not right down the street. Yay! They get a nice victory at home yesterday last week in their beautiful new stadium. 60-30 over Moore Park. Good for them. Moore Park is quite the drive, so that's up there by Six Flags, man. So tough to go for those guys, for the Raiders having to come all the way down here. But still, the good victory for them, for the Eagles of Mount San Jacinto. Next up here, another crazy game. That was just like, whoa. Butte! How about Butte College? And if I'm not mistaken, that's where Aaron Rodgers went. But, dude, 35-14 over City College of San Francisco. Yeah, that happened. The defending champions were knocked off by Butte yesterday. Kind of crazy. And solid game for Butte there. That's San Francisco's first loss of the season. Orange Coast College came so freaking close to winning a football game this year, and, well, it was shut down just slightly, ever so slightly. Grossmont will defeat Orange Coast 31-26. Man, you just want to cheer for those Pirates, man. You really do, because they're so damn close. But big victory for them. Golden West, though, out of Orange County, well, they will do their thing, going up to Bakersfield, winning 24-14 last week. I mean, damn, there were some great football games. last week. Ventura just slaughtering El Camino 32-13. I did not see that one coming. San Diego Mesa and East Los Angeles had a damn good game. San Diego Mesa winning that one 33-31. And, well, Southwestern, the woes continue for them down there in Chula Vista, San Diego. As Palomar, a little San Diego matchup here. Palomar defeats them 17-0 last week at home, so the Comets are now 3-0 in the season. Fullerton had a hell of a game versus the College of the Canyons. My goodness, how about those Jackets, man? 29-24 there. Or the Hornets. I forgot the Jackets of the Hornets. Anyway, good job for Fullerton there. Another good game. My gosh, there were some good games last week. Long Beach defeating Chaffee 31-28. That's Chaffee's second loss this season. Long Beach second victory this season. And I think this is a good place to end it here. Well, Mount San Antonio, of course, Mount SAC 63-18 over San Bernardino Valley on the road. And my goodness, my Riverside City College Tigers, way to go last week, just knocking off Saddleback on the road, 34-3. Great job, Tigers, and I'm going to stop there because there's just so many good games. Teran, any thoughts on any of these games here?
I was very surprised to see Riverside laying down the wood against Saddleback. They just, man, I didn't think they would win by that much. I know Saddleback is good year in and year out, but Riverside just literally laid down the wood. Long Beach's win over Chaffee was impressive just because Chaffee does have a good team pretty much every year. Fullerton, that's a huge win for them, handing Canyons their first loss. As you mentioned, OCC lost to Grossmont, which
Womp, womp, womp.
The first time they actually scored more than 7 points, they find a way to somehow let that slip through their fingers.
Teran's not happy. Teran's not happy.
Yeah, it's rough. Just tough times in Pirateville for OCC, but it's all good. And then Golden West, as you mentioned, they beat Bakersfield. Kind of surprised by that low of a score, but I guess Bakersfield is much more underrated than people give them credit for. And I think Bakersfield always has a good team, even though Golden West continues to just have a great season. This week, however, they get tested by, I think you know this team quite well, Larry, Riverside.
Yeah.
It's a rematch of last year's SoCal Regional Final as if you remember, Golden West, I think, was like the number 1 seed or number 2 seed, and they were upset by Riverside, who just played probably the most complete game ever. And despite a late surge by the Rustlers, Riverside was able to hold on and win the SoCal Regional last year. So I think it's going to be a big game. It's the biggest test for Golden West so far. I really think Riverside might have a leg up on them just because they face some stiff competition. Not that I'm saying that Golden West competition isn't that stiff. Obviously, they played some impressive competition so far, but I think Riverside, it's going to be a little bit of a grudge match. And I imagine the Rustlers are going to have that loss from last season on their mind.
Well, Riverside is going to be on their way in just a little bit. That kickoff is just at about 12 o'clock, so they're probably on their way right now, loading up the bus, getting ready to get on out of there because they'll probably be arriving around 11 o'clock. Early outs, all that good stuff. So, yeah, Riverside might already be on the road at 9 a.m. I know Coach Kraft, and very well, trust me. And Homeboy doesn't play. He makes damn sure that his team is ready to go. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure they're already on the road. But let's go Tigers and see what they can pull off today. And definitely a great game here. And, well, let's see if those Rustlers are ready, man. This is going to be a great game. Big ups and big appreciation to Mr. Mike Pat tuning in here. He says, good afternoon, fellas. Good afternoon to you, Mr. Mike Pat, as Maryland is currently... I feel so bad. I just go right for it, Darren. Maryland is trailing 3-7 Michigan right now, number 4 Michigan. But you know what? You gotta give Maryland some props, right? I mean, my goodness, it's still early, but it's not out of hand, unranked versus a ranked there. So, yeah. And by the way, Mr. Mike Pat there. Lots to talk about, of course, tomorrow. We got lots in DMV going down, so really excited for that. Coming up on Let's Whine About Sports tomorrow, 6 p.m. Pacific Time, 9 p.m. Eastern. So good stuff there, and we shall hear what Mr. Mike Pat has to say all about that game and all that fun stuff there. So, also, we'll be recapping what was a wild game on Thursday, man. West Virginia and Virginia Tech. I mean, it really wasn't wild. It was actually just a beatdown. But, man, the Hokies just couldn't, they couldn't do really much of anything. And West Virginia just kind of, dropped the hammer. So, 33-10, West Virginia just destroyed Virginia Tech on the road. Tough go for those guys. So, anyway, I know Mr. Mike Pat will be talking about all that good stuff coming up. So, let's do the damn thing and move forward. Yeah, Teran, back to the CCAA. Gosh dang it, dude. We're going to have a good one today. San Mateo and American River up north should be a solid one. Fullerton and Allen Hancock. I like that a lot. Fresno City and San Francisco. That should be another one. Butte and Modesto. Okay. If Modesto is ever going to, this is their season. They just got clunked last week. Yeah, Butte needs to make this. If they can knock off Butte, which knocked off San Francisco last week, that's saying a lot. But Modesto needs to make this happen today. Severn Valley playing Elko. That should be a good one, El Camino. Santa Ana here, Santa Ana College, of course, taking on Mount San Jacinto, so it should be a good one there as well. Saddleback taking on East Los Angeles. And, hey, Orange Coast taking on Santa Monica. Best of luck to your Pirates there, Teran. Long Beach and San Diego Mesa should probably be one of the better games of the day for dang sure. And, let's see, Palomar, College of the Canyons, another good one. That should be actually a good one, too. College of the Desert and Glendale. Got a chance to play against both those teams back in my day playing in the CCAA. So, great stuff there. Lots of good games to go today. Teran, Cerritos and Southwestern as well. Should be a good one. Teran, any games you got your eye on today?
Yeah, mostly that Golden West Riverside matchup, but I think I'm interested to see how Fullerton does against Allen Hancock. I feel that's a matchup that we don't really get to see Fullerton taking on. Fresno City, San Francisco could be a matchup to watch for. I think that's going to be good. San Bernardino Valley, El Camino also looks pretty solid. Saddleback, East LA, pretty underrated as well. And then Long Beach, San Diego Mesa. Long Beach has to go all the way from the 5-6-2 all the way down to good old San Diego to take on the Olympians.
The 6-1 now.
I think those are some good matchups right there. Canyons versus Palomar, that's a sneaky good matchup. But overall, I think those are kind of my matchups to watch for.
I like it, Teran. Let's move on over to the NJCAA. Last week, some beatdowns as snow will just destroy Gila River. My gosh, 85-0. That wasn't even fair. But we did have a game that was just a wow. New Mexico Military, the defending champions from last year, Teran, will take on Kilgore, and Kilgore gave them all they could handle. Teran, how about this final score? 31-24. New Mexico Military, man, freaking squeaks out the win. How about that? Big ups to Kilgore for fighting them as well as they did. My gosh. Also, Iowa Western just adding to the woes of Highland, Kansas. 24-7. Iowa Western 3-0 now in the season, and Highland going 0-4. Ouch. So, yeah, tough games last week, but moving into this week, man, we definitely got some good football. Let's see here, coming up today. Well, a couple of games. There might be some bye weeks and everything, but Hutchinson and Coffeyville getting underway today. Kilgore and Navarro, another one. We also have here Blinn taking on New Mexico Military. Ellsworth taking on Iowa Western. I mean, there are some pretty good ones, man. Holmes and Coahoma. So, Garden City and Highland. Can Highland get their first victory, or will Garden City just take another win? Take another win over these guys here. We'll see. But, Teran, what you got for the NJCAA this week, man?
So, we actually had a few matchups on Thursday, and there were quite some interesting matchups. Jones barely squeaked out the win over East Central, winning 17-14. Keep in mind, East Central was winless going into this game, while Jones was undefeated. So that's quite the interesting matchup. Low scoring, and we also nearly had an upset in terms of that aspect. Inns beat Pearl River 14-0, which I thought was good. East Mississippi won a thriller over Mississippi Gulf Coast 48-45. And then Northwest Mississippi took down Itawamba 49-10. And I must say, it looks like the Mississippi schools play on Thursday for some reason, just because all these matchups do pretty much have a Mississippi team. But I don't know. I've never really figured that out. But it's maybe Mississippi has like a state law or something like that. But overall, that's something I kind of found out on Thursday. And yeah, we had those matchups as well as today's matchups.
Awesome stuff there, Teran. Well, we got a couple of matchups in the higher leagues to take a look at now about that time. TCU and SMU going at it right now, Teran. It's currently 7-0 TCU. What do you think, Teran? Both unranked teams. Two teams here that are absolutely just 100% rivals. You gotta love watching these guys play. A couple years ago, it was 45-40, I think, in the final score. I mean, just a very, very, very good game here. Also, Duke and Kansas at the half right now, 7-7. Like I said, not basketball, guys. It's football. What do you think about those two games right now, Teran?
Yeah, that TCU versus SMU matchup, it's been a while since TCU has been good, really good. Yeah. I'm not saying that in a negative way, but it's like TCU has a long way to go in order to be back on the path of truly relevance. But TCU, they're taking baby steps. Obviously, they beat Colorado and Tarleton in the first 2 weeks. Now they face SMU. I think that's going to be a little bit more of a challenge just because it's like an interstate rivalry. And then after that, they basically get going with their Big 12 conference schedule, and that's when it really starts to pick up. And right off the gate, they have Oklahoma. At home, granted, but it's still a tough match against Oklahoma. And then as you mentioned, Duke and Kansas, well, Duke's not even in the Big 12, but Kansas is undefeated. Their game against Duke is sold out.
Oh, wow.
Surprise. And this isn't basketball we're talking about. This is football we're talking about. College football, as basically Duke and Kansas is sold out, and it's going to be interesting to say the least. So overall, the Big 12 is looking quite eyebrow-raising. I'm willing to bet that it's still going to be Oklahoma's to lose, so we'll see what happens.
We shall see. Teran, my goodness. Will Patty Bax's woes go away? Will the University of Buffalo's woes go away? They are currently down 13-14 versus East Michigan on that really cool field. It's all gray in the middle, and it's got two green end zones, I think. Oh, it's really, really cool. So I've seen a little clip of it right here on the video. But anyway, Teran, this is crazy. Buffalo usually has a pretty solid team. This year, they were anything but. They're 0-3. What do you think, man? Think these Eagles are just going to take off and soar to the skies of Michigan today, or are these Buffaloes actually going to get a friggin' win? Oh, the Bulls of Buffalo going to get a friggin' win today. Teran, it's a close one, man. What do you think?
Well, Buffalo unfortunately lost one of their games off a Hail Mary to Holy Cross. That was probably the biggest gut punch ever.
Patty was there.
Yes, unfortunately she was there. And they were competitive against Coastal Carolina. I mean, losing by 12, it's not bad, considering how good Coastal Carolina is year in and year out from the Sun Belt Conference. And then obviously the loss to Maryland. Maryland being a Big Ten team, that's quite the mismatch for the Bulls. I feel they can get it together when it comes to the MAC. They do have time, but it looks like the MAC was quite challenging with Toledo playing. They actually played San Diego State, and then Kent State. But looking at it a little bit closely, it looks like Toledo is kind of the only team that is above 500. Yeah. Well, Toledo and Eastern Michigan. So, and this is Mid-American. My apologies, not Maction. So, anyway, Mid-American, yeah, it looks like Buffalo. I feel Buffalo, I wouldn't count them out, but it's like they're going to have to pretty much run the table within their division. And luckily, their whole division, Miami of Ohio, Kent State, Bowling Green, and Akron, they're all sub 500. So if Buffalo could just win their division and then make it to the Mid-American Championship, then I think they should be fine. But they have to start winning sooner rather than later.
Agreed, Darren. So let's jump on over to Division 3. Last week, man, some crazy ones here. The top 25 games were all blowouts for the most part. A couple of them, Wisconsin and Whitewater was tested by Barry. My goodness, 17-3. It may not seem like a tough one, but that's a 14-point game. Like I said, man, some of these teams just fight like hell. They're like, yeah, what do we got to lose, man? This is a top team coming in here. We're going to fight these guys on our turf. So, solid game there for those guys. And then, of course, Grove City giving Carnegie Mellon all they can handle. We talked about Carnegie Mellon the last couple of weeks. They're number 17 right now. They'll defeat Grove City 40-33 last week. Mount Union just destroying Marietta 55-7 because I wonder if that's the same Marietta. I wonder if that's Marietta, Georgia. By the way, I'm curious now because we just talked about them a little bit ago for high school. But anyway, yeah, Mount Union doing, as you would say, Teran, Mount Union things. So, yeah, I just completely pulled the lid off of that game. And then, of course, and they're number 3, by the way, right now. Kind of crazy. Mount Union is. Big upset here. Loras will defeat number 24 Central 38-35 on the road. Way to go there, guys. And is there any more crazy upsets? No. Redlands fought. They didn't get it done. But number 8 Linfield defeated Redlands, which is right here in the Inland Empire, 21-3. Yeah, it's, they got 3 points on them. It should be, it's something, I guess. And it's all good. And then, of course, Bayard and Baylor, they're a little irritated over their recent loss, so they will destroy Southwestern 68-14. Anyway, Teran, just some blowouts. That's pretty much about it in last week's games. And, well, this week we got some cool games, I think. Mount Union taking on Muskingum. Here we have John Carroll and Heidenberg, St. John's and Bethel going on today, and Mayhard and Baylor and Hardin Simmons. This is actually a pretty good game. Wow, that's actually a pretty good one. Should be pretty solid there. Should be a good game. I would hope it's a good game, that is. But yeah, we got those little games going on. We also had some games yesterday. Actually, we had one. Win number 9, Johns Hopkins just destroys Monrovian 54-0. So, Teran, must be some bye weeks going on this week. But what you got for D3 this week, man?
Yeah, you mentioned the 54-0 loss for Johns Hopkins. They won 70-0 last week. So I'm kind of wondering, is Hopkins' opponents not that good, or is Johns Hopkins just that much better? I mean, if I remember correctly, Hopkins always has themselves a solid football team, but I kind of wonder what they're going to look like against an actual legitimate opponent. Not that I'm trying to take away the win or anything, but I feel that you won both those games quite convincingly. A little too convincingly, if you ask me. So that's just my little take, and you mentioned there are a lot of blowouts. Yeah, it seems like there are a lot of blowouts. And I think last week I do remember us saying that there were buys, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
That could be for NAI, though. So, but overall, let's make it a little closer with all these games. Like, there are some close ones, but most of them look like they were one-sided affairs.
Yeah, same goes in D2, man. Last week, taking a look at some of these D2 football games, by the way. That was the 17th. Yeah, we didn't have a lot to talk about here at all for D2. Let's take a look here. I don't know why I was on the 15th, but on to the 17th. Well, it wasn't a whole bunch. I mean, the ranked games were kind of what we thought they would be. Number 25, Notre Dame, defeating West Liberty 34-17. Kind of what to be expected. The kicker for me was Shepherd, number 5, Shepherd. They almost lost to California, Pennsylvania, 26-23, man. Great game played by California. Shepherd, though, number 5 was on the ropes, and they showed what they're made of, pulling out that dang victory. Way to go to them. Certainly a great win there for those guys. And yeah, just a lot of one-sided affairs. And of course, Bowie State is just dropping like a stone, man. I am just very concerned. They are 1-2 on the season right now. But if you look at their record, they were 12 when they started out the year. They will defeat New Haven, which was number 18, 27 to 20. Teran, Bowie State will then fall to Saginaw Valley. We talked about this a couple weeks ago. 40-12 when they were number 11. And then last week, last week, Bowie State will lose to Njcaa, who was unranked. Both Saginaw Valley and Njcaa were unranked. Bowie State was number 24 at the time. They lost 17-14. And this week, Bowie is going to be taking on St. Augustine's, and Bowie is officially out of the top 25. I mean, yeah, that's crazy. What happened? You defeat a ranked team, and then you lose the two unranked teams, and yeah, I don't know. But anyway, number 10, Newberry, defeating Emory and Henry 26-23 there on the road. So number 10 prevails on the road. And once again, Saginaw Valley now ranked number 22. They'll defeat Northwood 35-14 on the road. Looking pretty good there. And yeah, so those were the few ones last week that were pretty good. We had a ranked game. Nebraska, Kearney, number 21. And Washburn, number 18. Kearney would win that one 21-13 there on the road. Solid game for them, and yeah, not much more after that. I don't know if we have any more ranked games after that. But yes, some good ones there, and yeah, I'm just... Virginia Union, by the way, is now the top 25. Hey, they defeated Livingstone last week, 42-6, so we know they pulled off quite the upset a couple weeks ago over Valdosta State, so certainly deserve to be ranked that high. And is there any other ones? There is not. Valdosta State, though, tumbling to number 14. My goodness, they fell very far. They defeated Miles last week, 55-7. And we did have another upset as Northern State defeated number 15 Minnesota State 23-20 at home. Talk about the upset for those guys at home. Another good one. And am I missing any more? Okay, I think that's officially it for all the upsets and everything. And nope, Teran, there's one more. There is one more. West Texas A&M, number 12, will fall to Texas A&M Kingsville 31-24 at home last week, and that's officially it. My goodness, Division II last week was bumping. How about those, man?
Yeah, we had quite a good number of matchups, and I feel for Bowie State, like, what's happening with them? But it must be one of those years where they just are a little on the decline, and it happens with a good portion of college teams. One year, they have a good year where they have a deep playoff run, and then they win their conference, and the next year they're a little down, they're a little bit on the rebuild side, plus reload side, but overall, it's the circle of life when it comes to college football, or any sort of football in general. So I think for some of these schools that are down, with if they have one or maybe two losses, they can still be fine. Just your margin of error is now slimming by the day. So just got to keep that in mind.
Agreed. What up to Mr. Marcus Lowe's? Great. He's always here to support my brothers, man. Well, here to thank you for the support, man. Make sure to check out Gloves Off every Wednesday, 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Show some love, man, to the greatest combat sports show ever with Mr. Marcus Lowe's. Great. Always a great time with him. So, right now, Teran, we got a couple of upset alerts, man. Number 5, Shepherd is trailing Kutztown. We just talked about Shepherd pulling out a squeaker last week. Oh, they might have an issue, man. Shepherd trailing 21-14 right now behind Kutztown out on the road. And another upset alert, Teran. Valdosta State, what is going on? They fell to Virginia Union, who was unranked last week. Now Virginia Union is ranked. But they're losing to a shorter school. Get it? Just kidding. Shorter University, I'm guessing. Yep, out of Rome, Georgia. They are winning right now 10-0 over Valdosta State. Number 13, Valdosta State. They're currently in the second quarter. What is going on, Valdosta State? That is concerning. My goodness. Next up, Saginaw Valley taking on Michigan Tech. right now as well. We'll see what Bowie State does versus St. Augustine, but oh my gosh, how they've been looking has just been bad. But we shall see. But other than that, I don't really see any ranked on ranks or anything going on today. We do have Waldorf, an NAIA school, taking on number 1 Ferris State, so that should be pretty interesting. I like that. I love those crossovers, completely different, NAIA and CAA, so great stuff going on there. Looking forward to that. West Texas A&M, number 22, will be taking on Angelo State. Of course, number 4, Angelo State. My goodness. Another solid matchup for the day. And, well, Teran, I think that's all she wrote. No, Harding. Number 7, Harding, and number 9, Ochita Baptist. That should be a good game tonight. 8 p.m. Eastern Time and 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So, Teran, any thoughts on these games here in D2 this week?
You said Valdosta State is on upset alert?
They're upset alert.
Yeah, that's a little alarming. And
yeah.
I don't have any words for that. It's like, normally when I hear Valdosta State in college football, I'm thinking dominant program, always good yearly, deep playoff run, but it's like, I don't even remember the last time they lost. They were upset in terms of college football. But
last week.
Let's keep an eye on that one.
Last week they lost to Virginia Union last week. Upset.
Oh, okay.
Remember that one.
Okay,
so,
gotcha.
But they just
I'm using the NCAA side. I should be using like d3football.com.
You're good, man. You're good. But yeah, man, freaking good old. I mean, they just won the national championship 4 years ago. I mean, I know we're putting them kind of high, but I'm just saying, man, those darn they're a solid school, man. The Blaze is a good school, and well, we'll see those Blazers if they can make it happen. But moving forward now into the NAIA. Then last week there just was some calamity. I mean, as per usual. We have here, let's see, that Baker-Peru State game was what we thought it was. Peru State actually pulled off the upset over Baker. I don't even know if it was an upset, but 19-14 at home. Damn good game, for sure. Down goes Baker. Let's see, who else do we have here in the NAIA, man? Always is great stuff. Waldorf, the team that's taking on Ferris State today. Waldorf defeated Dakota State 42-17. That actually looked like a pretty good game. Lindsey Wilson knocking off Cumberland's 37-10. So, yeah, overall, we have some pretty good games from last week that looked like they ended up exactly how we thought they would. None of them really being major upsets. Just kind of rolling along, I guess, here. Nothing much, but you know what? NAIA, though, still great football. I love the NAIA. Just really overall great football week in and week out. And this week is going to be no different. We got some solid matchups right now. Actually, some games are underway. So let's take a look at some of those. So Reinhardt, a team that's always around the top 25, is taking on St. Andrews at the moment. Marion and Missouri Baptist. That's another one to watch out for. Also, let's see if we could find good old Morningside in here somewhere to see who they're taking on. So, there's that matchup, the Waldorf and Ferris State University game. I'm telling you, I'm looking forward to that. I like that. I think that's going to be great. D2 NAIA, we all know what everyone always says. NAIA is comparable to Division II. It's just pretty much the level, I guess, of competitive. We have here Iowa Wesleyan and Dakota State. Talked about them a few minutes ago. And here we go. Grandview and Evangel. That's a solid matchup. And let's see if we have any more for the day, Teran. I think that's going to be it, man. Not much more. So anyway, Teran, what you got for NAIA?
So last week, I was quite interested in this little matchup. Missouri Baptist beating Madonna in overtime, 44-37.
Oh.
I don't know about you, but I was a little surprised to see Missouri Baptist going into overtime against Madonna. But overall, I guess that's how college football works sometimes. Sometimes no team is safe. And I'm really interested in Marion versus Missouri Baptist. Can Missouri Baptist top its performance against a better team in Marion? I feel Marion could top Missouri Baptist. But we'll see what happens this week. Montana Tech and Montana Western, that's the Bulldogs' passion. I'm excited for that one. That one looks like quite the interesting matchup. And then Montana State Northern versus Rocky Mountain, that looks like a good one as well. Southern Oregon at Carroll, that's sneaky good. Eastern Oregon at College of Idaho, also a good little matchup. So they've got some good little matchups going on here this week.
Well, no, that is for sure, Teran. So, moving to the FCS. Well, last week, the Cupcake games, I hate to call them that, but the FCS and FBS games, there were some that were actually, well, we'll get into those. But taking a step back here now into the FCS world, we have to cover it all here on College Edition. So, moving on over to the FCS. Last week, man, there are some games where you just want to celebrate, And I gotta tell you, Southern Illinois knocking off Northwestern. I'm sorry, Adam Karnick. Yeah, FCS defeated an FCS last week, and you know what? Good for them. Nice victory. Northwestern, I'm not sure, but good for you, Southern Illinois or South Illinois. So, sorry, good game for them, and overall, just solid stuff. Anyway, Montana defeating Indiana State. Pretty big there, 49-14. Overall, Cal Poly just went on over to South Dakota and didn't play their best game. South Dakota winning 38-21. Cal Poly is just kind of having a little rough moment, if you will. Holy Cross, speaking about them defeating Buffalo by a Hail Mary, they will knock off Yale handedly, 38-14. They can battle with the FBS. They can battle anywhere, and they're definitely battling here. So certainly some pretty solid games there, and you gotta love it. I'm telling you, you just gotta love when you see these smaller schools just knocking off these bigger schools, because why not? I love it. I love seeing that. And by the way, North Dakota State. Last week, the Bison, Teran, the Bison, the team that we have been just going every year, like, can you freaking just go FBS already? Like, can you stop dominating the freaking FCS? Like, can you stop being the Alabama of the FCS, please, and thank you. Well, Arizona, which just destroyed San Diego State a few weeks ago, we know that, in the opening week, in week 1. Arizona would barely knock off North Dakota State 31-28. North Dakota State led going into the fourth quarter, man. That kid, Hunter Lepke, is a beast. I hope he goes to the combine, seriously. 38-yard run. The gosh dang Wildcats. They would score, of course. The Wildcats would score with 4:53 to go in the game here. It was Jaden DeLaura to Jacob Cowling, 22-yard pass. Tyler Loop for the extra point. Teran. Arizona barely beat the dang Bison. Is that saying something about Arizona, or is that actually saying something about North Dakota to where they should actually go up? I'm just saying, these are the games that we really got to pay attention to and go, yeah, can you stop it already? Freaking North Dakota State. Anyway, Teran, what you got, man?
So Arizona has improved drastically. I think, obviously, the changing of the guard has worked well, and Arizona did get some good recruits from their 2022 class, and I think their class of 2023 upcomers will be something to watch for. I think it speaks for Arizona being more improved, though I kind of was expecting North Dakota State to pull out the win. Just a tough way to go out if you're North Dakota State, but it's all good. I guess the silver lining is they hung tough with a Power 5 school, and another silver lining is that they won't play them again, and it'll just benefit them going forward, just because they do have a tough slate ahead of them.
They do. I guess yeah. I think it says North Dakota needs to be a D1 school or a D1 single A school. I'm just saying. And of course, unfortunate UC Davis. I mean, it's not unfortunate for the Aggies, but the Toreros just take another clunk on the head. Man, second loss of the year. Down go the Toreros, 43-13. The Aggies just put these guys to bed last week. The game they want to forget about. Teran, any thoughts on that?
To me, UC Davis was probably one of the best 0-2 teams in the FCS, so I'm not surprised to see Davis pulling out the win over San Diego. You also got to remember that San Diego's lone win was against, who they beat? Laverne of all teams?
Yeah, Laverne, a Division III school, Teran.
Yeah, it speaks to high volumes of how, and remember, also got to remember, San Diego was coming off of that heartbreaker loss to Cal Poly, so again, Davis is vastly underrated, and you got to look at Davis' schedule. They played South Dakota State, only lost by 2, and then they played Cal, which obviously Cal being the FBS school, that was basically a lost cause. So overall, I'm not too surprised that Davis would beat San Diego last week.
Yeah, unfortunately.
But something else I saw that was quite interesting from last week. Sorry to cut off there, Larry, but I think it was Arkansas, as I'm a little surprised they only won by 11 against Missouri State, but Missouri State they were down at halftime, and they were also down in the third quarter, but they erupted for 21 points. So I think Missouri State's loss is much more closer than most people give them credit for. Like, they were up 10 3 minutes into the fourth quarter, so I think they deserve credit and a tip of the cap. And their quarterback, Jason Shelley, this dude balled out. So finally having one passing touchdown.
Marcus Lowe's Gravy in the chat room says D1 single A teams playing like NAU. ... I could see it. Speaking of NAU, by the way, they had a hell of a game last week. Into the fourth quarter, 14-13, NAU led. Okay, after a touchdown, by the way. They'll get a field goal, 17-13, leading with 13:40 to go. Then the Fighting Hawks of North Dakota will fight back and score 20-17 now. The Fighting Hawks lead with 5:26 to go. But wait a minute, the Jacks aren't done yet, as they will score with a 1:42 to go on the clock, 24-20. The Jacks strike back, and they're looking to win this thing, but no, the Fighting Sioux wouldn't have any. Oh, Fighting Sioux, I'm sorry, my bad. And that was the old name. The Fighting Hawks, my apologies, would bring it on back here and knock off NAU with a touchdown, 27-24, with 53 seconds to go. What a way to fall, man. That's a tough one for NAU, but what a victory for the Fighting Hawks of North Dakota last week at NAU. That's a pretty damn good game. Anyway, so moving forward into this week. Week number 4. Well, Teran, we still have some of the D1 and FBS, FCS games going on, which, those are just going to happen. But the Toreros are taking Valpo right now. They just started. Valparaiso. Can they win this game? They're in Indiana right now. Can the Toreros win this game? Because the Toreros are just having a very hard season right now. And once again, when your only victory is over a freaking D3 school, okay, and of course they're going to win 58-0, okay? Of course they're going to win. But yeah, I'm just saying, kind of crazy. Anyway, so with that said, some solid games today. Yale and Cornell, another good game. They're a little Ivy League team, I believe. Ivy League game there going down. South Dakota State and Missouri State. We shall see in that one. Also, North Dakota taking on South Illinois. South Illinois is riding high right now, man. They just knocked off Northwestern. So they're playing at home. They're happy, man. North Dakota better watch it. I know they want to. That should be a great game this week, as a matter of fact, because both those teams coming off big wins last week. Portland State and Montana. Portland State at 0-2, and Montana coming out 3-0. Montana not too happy about last week. Not about last year. Not playing the best. Being kind of it was kind of a tough go for those guys. But I'll tell you what, Teran. Montana State was the team to watch last year, weren't they? They went all the way to the final, of course, being slaughtered by North Dakota State, who should be a freaking D1 school over here, losing by 3 points to Arizona. If you hear me, NCAA. Anyway, so there's that. So yeah, lots of good ones coming up on today. Really excited about a few of these games, but overall, those are kind of the bigger ones. Weber State and UC Davis probably going to be one of my favorite ones here. They got Weber State by 3 points. But other than that, that's pretty much all I got for the FCS. Teran, what you got, man? Anything else to
add? Well, I'm looking at Rhode Island taking on Pitt. If Pitt doesn't win convincingly, we're going to have to circle the wagons when it comes to this matchup next week. But overall, yeah, it's tough times for San Diego. Again, they lost that heartbreaker to Cal Poly, and they're actually playing on ESPN3, which is quite surprising. So I'm hoping that they don't get stage fright when it comes to their matchup. But overall, the North Dakota State-South Dakota matchup could be a sneaky good matchup, but I would put money on North Dakota State taking South Dakota to the shed.
Yeah, I think so. And also another one, Montana State. Speaking of the Bobcats, they're taking on those Eagles of Eastern Washington. That's actually a good one. I like that a lot. It's a Big Sky, if I'm not mistaken, matchup there going on. So, 2-1 Bobcats. They were at the championship last year. And Eastern Washington. They have a really cool... Eastern Washington's logo is probably one of the coolest logos ever made. Like the EWU and like inside the eagle, like it's freaking sweet. The E and the W are both part of the wings, and the U is the tail. It's just freaking. I love it. I love their logo, man. I've always loved it. Anyway, they're 1-1 on the season though, so we shall see. But anyway, with that said, Teran, we're gonna jump on into our final slate, of course, and that is today's. We already kind of got into it already throughout the show. But finishing off the FBS, Teran, what in the WWE, man? I'm just kidding. But Michigan right now is trailing Maryland. I'm sorry, that's just funny. Maryland is leading 13-10. And, yeah, number 4, Michigan. I mean, are they for real or are they not? What's even more surprising is number 1, Georgia is only leading by 9 points over Kent State. It's 19-10 in the second quarter. Number 5, Clemson is leading over 21 Wake Forest, 17-7. Like we kind of thought they would. The Chippewas are just kind of chipping away at Penn State because Penn State isn't doing much of anything, but, number 14 is just tied with the Chippewas. It's no big deal, right? So we got that going on. So, yeah, all these games look fun. TCU, hey! They're looking good right now over their rival, SMU, 21-7, leading this thing. The Duke-Kansas non-basketball game is actually going pretty good. Duke is currently trailing Kansas 14-10. Good game here. Good game. And Teran, may I say, the freaking Bulls of Buffalo are leading by 3 points over Eastern Michigan. Oh, my goodness. Marcus says here in the chat room, Georgia better not mess up my spread bet. Yeah, Georgia needs to... I don't know what they're doing right now. But anyway, Teran, we got some good games today. Number 7, USC taking on Oregon State. I heard you talking about this yesterday on the SoCal Sports Show. Yeah, Oregon State is 3-0. You said it. They're a pretty damn good school this year. They're making things happen. USC is coming off of a pretty nice little win there. Should be a USC victory up there in Corvallis, but we shall see. UCLA taking on Colorado. UCLA is 3-0. Colorado is 0-3. UCLA is favored by 22 points. If UCLA loses this game, that's about as suspect gets. Number 20. Florida taking on number 11 Tennessee today. SEC matchup where Tennessee is actually relevant for the first time in ever. Just kidding. But we shall see how that goes. Notre Dame no longer in the top 25 because they don't deserve to be in the top 25 because, Notre Dame wants to mess around and lose games to Cal. I'm just kidding. No, I'm sorry, Marshall, and almost lose to Cal. So after battling number 2 Ohio State to the bitter end, how does that even happen? Notre Dame starts at number 5, and now they're just horrible. And now, what the crap? Oh, okay, Teran, we're going to put the break. No, we're stopping right here. Teran, Notre Dame. I'm sorry, this is sad. Wow, what happened? Did they lose somebody or something? Teran, UNC is favored by 2.5 points. Teran, help me! Help me!
I don't know what to say. Just Carolina is 3-0, but Notre Dame fell from grace. They fell very far from grace.
Oh my God!
Keep in mind, this isn't basketball, by the way.
This is great. I'm sorry. Look, as a USC fan, I can't stand Notre Dame, but I go into podcasting. Teran, like you, with an open mind, being non-biased. But I'm sorry, this is jacked up. No, ESPN is cold, man. No. Sorry. Okay. Breathe. Marcus Love's great says here, no respect for Notre Dame this season. No respect. Yeah, Ronnie Dangerfield, man. Let me explain. No, oh my gosh. Wow. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, I know we went over on time, but no one's after us, so hopefully I gotta go nowhere, Teran. We got a few more minutes here, brother. But real quick, Teran. So Notre Dame starts out the season at number 5. And that was the game of the week, man. We talked about it. We were like, yeah, Ohio State should slaughter them, but it really shouldn't be that bad. It should be a good game. Ohio State should win pretty heavily, but regardless, they're number 2 for a reason. It's freaking Ohio State. And you know what, Teran? Notre Dame surprised the crap out of us. It was 21-10, man. It wasn't even that bad. It was a good football game. It was a very good football game. And you know what? I really enjoyed it. I thought Ohio State played very well, but Notre Dame just fought, and they fought well. A week later, that same freaking Notre Dame team just acts like, oh, well, we're good, we fought Ohio State, so we don't need to practice this week or something, and they didn't, apparently. Something happened, and, the thundering herd of Marshall just trampled over the Fighting Irish in South Bend, mind you, when they were number 8. So Notre Dame would drop from number 8 to number 5 to number 8 that same week, and then freaking Marshall will knock off Notre Dame. That was the upset of the week for sure. Maybe one of the upsets of the season. Down go Notre Dame, 26-21. Last week, Notre Dame went from number 8 to non-ranked. I didn't even realize that. Golly. Yeah, if you look, man, they're cold, man. The NCAA is... God, I wish they were that... I wish they were like this with the SEC. Bama loses a game or has a close game. I wish they were like that, SEC bias. Anyway, Notre Dame is unranked last week. They played Cal. Notre Dame almost lost. It wasn't bad, but 24-17. Freaking Notre Dame won that game, man. But it was a squeaker. They should have really just dominated. And now they're playing North Carolina this week. They're 1-2. The game is on ABC in a couple of hours. They're playing in Chapel Hill. And Teran, the 3-0 North Carolina Tar Heels, mind you, who have only beaten, who have they beaten? Okay, Florida A&M. Okay. Appalachian State. and Georgia State. Teran, the Tar Heels are favored by 3 points or 2.5 points over Notre Dame at home. I'm done. This show's over. This is crazy. Teran, what happened? Like, I'm trying to find injuries. Like, what happened? Like, why are they...
So Notre Dame... Oh, sorry.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
Notre Dame actually switched their quarterbacks. They shuffled their quarterbacks around. Last week they started Drew Pine in at quarterback, the sophomore, over Tyler Buckner, who is also a sophomore. Believe it or not, those two, like I said, they're sophomores, and they're actually, I was going to say, Drew is actually from New Canaan, Connecticut, while Buckner is from San Diego. But at first I was wondering, well, why does their quarterback have no passing touchdowns? But now I see why. Notre Dame has switched their quarterback position around, and now they're under the new watchful eye of Drew Pine. So I'm going to be interested to see how Pine does against UNC. Obviously, the Tar Heels have the statistics more than Notre Dame, but also it looks like they're settled in on quarterback Drake May, only a freshman. My goodness. I really want to know why the bet line is favoring a UNC team with a freshman quarterback. So that's going to be something to watch for. The battle of two youthful quarterbacks. The good news is for Pine is that he does have a match under his belt, a game under his belt, but he's going to face a UNC team which, depending on how their defense stacks up, they gave up 28 to Georgia State. They gave up 61 to App State, and then they gave up 24 to FAMU. So if UNC wants to prove themselves, their defense is going to actually have to step up. Unless, of course, they want to really go for another high-scoring affair. But I still think that defense is a little suspect. I'm sad that North Carolina beat App State.
Teran.
App State is America's team.
Teran, okay, well, that says a lot. That clarified a lot. But, man, they have no faith in this kid from Notre Dame now, I guess. But, wow. So there's two. So this is a true freshman game at quarterback?
Pine is a sophomore.
Oh.
May is a true freshman. He's the hometown kid from Huntersville, North Carolina.
Well, I mean, wow. All right, let's see what they do. The Kenan Stadium is going to be fun in a little bit. Wow, okay. If Notre Dame loses this game, well, they have BYU coming up, Stanford, UNLV. Well, how did Notre Dame get UNLV on their schedule? What the hell? Okay, anyway. UNLV, and they better not even. If Notre Dame loses this damn game, they better be ready for UNLV, because I don't know if they're going to beat BYU or Stanford at all. They got Syracuse. They got Clemson. I forget about that one. They got the Navy, which that might actually be a close game. I don't know. Boston College, and then they got SC. Yeah, Teran, they better not lose this game. Oh, my gosh. Yeah. Okay. Wow, that was I was not expecting to laugh that hard this early in the morning. Just kidding. Wow. Well, Notre Dame, all the best to you. But the Tar Heels, man, they're looking all right. They're getting favored. So just a favor. That's all it is. They're just getting favored. So we shall see. So anyway, next up, some solid, like I said, more solid games coming up today. Oregon taking on Washington State. I mean, yeah, no. If Oregon happens to fall in this one, I'm not quite sure what to even say here. Marcus, I'm crying over here. Yeah, brother. I don't even understand. This is crazy. I like this. Oh man, this is great. Anyway, Oregon. All right, they beat a good team last week. I think they can beat another one this week. So they got Washington. Wazoo, though, was 3-0, man. And are they playing in Pullman? They're playing in Pullman. Teran, if the damn Wazoo, Where are they? They're Wildcats.
Cougars.
The Cougars. I'm sorry. I forgot that. The Cougs. If the Cougs pull this off, dude, over the Ducks, oh my gosh. Oregon's only favored by 6.5 points, so we're going to see. Arizona and Cal, that should be actually a good game because Cal damn near beat Notre Dame, and Arizona thinks it's fun to play around with North Dakota State, even though they're a much bigger school. Anyway, we'll get into that soon, even though I still think North Dakota State should be in the FBS. That's my last time saying it in this show. Anyway, ranked, number 10, Arkansas, and number 23, Arkansas. I'm sorry, Texas A&M. Texas A&M, the Aggies in College Station today, favored by 2 points. We shall see that one. We've got a little bit of a... should be a toss-up there, a little fun deal. Vanderbilt taking on number 2, Alabama. I'm just kidding. There's no way that should be a close game. 40 points, Alabama is favored, 40.5 points over there. But the game that everyone is going to be talking about today, Teran, actually, we'll say that for the end. So other than that, I don't really see anything else that's like worth a crap. I mean, there is Florida State and Boston College from Mike Pat over there. But yeah, I don't really. I mean, BYU and Wyoming, number 19 BYU and Wyoming, number 13 Utah and Arizona State, Stanford and Washington. That should be pretty fun, actually. I guess, I don't know. But other than that, Teran, the game that everyone's going to be talking about today, of course, the big deal, is unranked Washington. Oh, sorry, wow. Unranked Wisconsin is taking on number 3, Ohio State. How the hell did Ohio State fall to number 3? How did that even happen? Okay, well, whatever. Anyway, Saturday Night Football tonight on ABC, 4:30 p.m. Pacific Time, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Ohio State is favored by 19 points. Washington, or I keep on saying Washington, gosh damn, I keep on saying the W, that's why. Wisconsin is favored, Wisconsin came into this thing. They had a loss to Washington State in week 2, 17-14. Other than that, they've pretty much smacked everybody else they've played. It's only been 2 other games, but and then Ohio State just did away with Notre Dame in a close game in week 1, and the last 2 weeks have been just beatdowns, really. So, what do you think, Teran? How about this game here tonight? Does Wisconsin even have a chance? Is Ohio State going to roll over these guys? I mean, they're playing in the shoe, so, I mean, it's a possibility. Is Wisconsin just kind of like saying, yeah, keep on laughing, we're going to show y'all tonight? I mean, what do you think, Teran?
So Wisconsin does have a underrated defense. Like, if you remember last year, they had, I want to say they had the top-ranked defense in all of the NCAA FBS. Now that, I hate to go back on the Washington State win, but don't be surprised if Washington State does beat Oregon. Their defense is legit. But jumping back to Wisconsin, I think they can compete with Ohio State, but I do feel the Buckeyes are just going to straight up just steamroll them. I mean, the defense, I think, is about to break. They've had that bend but not break mentality, but you have to look at the opponents who Wisconsin has beaten. They beat Illinois State, and then they also beat New Mexico State. It's not really anything to ride home about. And then, despite only giving up 17 to Washington State, it still is cause of alarm. It's like, can the offense do something big against a much talented team? So that's kind of my little thing for Wisconsin. I basically mentioned this on my Burning 5 questions from the Big Ten. Can Wisconsin have another top 5 or top 10 defense? And so far it looks like they can, but this is kind of their true test. Because obviously they gave up only 17, but they still lost to Washington State. So for Wisconsin, the level of talent in terms of their opponents really goes up. And it's going to continue to go up considering the rest of the way they are facing some Big Ten competition. The good news is for them is that it looks like they're probably one of the best teams in the Big Ten just because, or the Big Ten West, just because who's going to really challenge them outside of Minnesota? Like, Northwestern can't, considering they just lost to, who did they lose to?
South Illinois, FCS.
Yeah, Southern Illinois. Iowa, unfortunately, has offensive ineptitude. Illinois, somewhat a little sold on, not fully sold on. Purdue had that blunder last week with the coach getting an unsportsmanlike penalty, and then we're not even going to touch upon Nebraska. So I think for Wisconsin, this is going to be like a little bit of a live and learn lesson for them. But overall, I think that this isn't going to really be their game this week.
Well, Teran, I agree. Oh my gosh, man! We had some laughs today, brother. This game should be too much more of a laugh. It's kind of oh my gosh, but I will say that this team, this Ohio State team is, you know what? They're a good team. We know they are. We know they're solid. And realistically, they have no business losing this game. There's nothing there. I don't see that. Wisconsin should be a solid game. But let's just be real. Ohio State should win this thing pretty handedly. And you know what? Yeah, if they don't, I guess Wisconsin's somebody to watch out for. But I just don't see it. So that's pretty much where we're at. So I think we're both taking Ohio State tonight right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so anyway, with that said, you guys, Teran, that was a fun show, man. What you got, man? Any last thoughts, comments, anything you want to say, leave our listeners with, man. Marcus in the chat room enjoying the show. Thank you so very much. Also to him and Mike Pat and John Felipe for listening this week. But, Teran, anything else you want to throw out there, man? It could be any level, whatever, whichever, man. What are you looking for this week? Or what do you want to put out there? High school, like I said, anything, literally, from any of the levels, all 8 of them. We got high school, triple CAA, junior college, Njcaa in college, the NAIA, Division III, Division II, FCS, and FBS. Any of that stuff you want to put out, man, go ahead. The floor is yours.
Nothing. I think I pretty much said all that I need to say, but the USC-Oregon State matchup is going to be so amazing. I hate that I want to say all of USC's games are on the Pac-12 network, and for some non-Pac-12 network users out there, it's a struggle. I really wish that they could, actually, no. Not all of their games are going to be on Pac-12 network. Their game against Arizona State is basically going to be on ESPN, so I'm going to be quite interested in that. But overall, the USC-Oregon State game is just going to be a straight-up barn burner. I would not be surprised if we saw lots of offense today. And I know you don't like heavy point scoring, but overall, I really think that the USC-Oregon State game is going to be probably an underrated matchup. And I don't understand why people are picking Oregon State to win. I understand because Oregon State has beaten some good opponents. They beat Boise State. They also beat Fresno State. But USC has also beaten Stanford and Fresno State. So I really think that this is USC's true test. This is their true time to shine. That's because Pac-12 play just gets tougher and tougher.
Agreed, Teran. Well, I'm going to say that my big game today, I know after all of that, I'm going to go, it's got to be Riverside City College and Golden West, man. That's going to be a battle. That's getting underway in just about 2 hours, man. So definitely want to hold tight to at 3&Out IECE, where you can find us on Twitter, man. Show us some love. We'll be tweeting college all day long. Teran, it's been fun, brother. Let's go ahead and cue that music, because we're out of here. All right, y'all. That was a lot of fun. Teran, where can all these diehard fans find you, man?
You can find me on Twitter at Teran Rodriguez 1. That's where I post my main content and my main tweets. That's where you can find me at.
Awesome, man. You can find me, your boy Larry B, at THE_LB53. Once again, follow our show, man, at 3&Out, all spelled out, IECE. Big ups to our boy Marcus Loves Great tuning in this morning, man. Show him some love, of course, always on the Gloves Off podcast. Awesome stuff every Wednesday evening, you guys. But yeah, y'all, make sure to show love all around the station. Check out our website at iesportsradio.com. I am revamping it. Done playing no more crap, guys. IE Sports Radio is getting a facelift, and it's going to be a crazy one. New hosts, website revamped, social media pages galore. Oh, we're going down. It's going down. We're going up. That's what's going on. So, be ready, y'all. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a fun one. Once again, make sure to catch tonight. Saturday Night Football should be a good one. We have it, of course, on many of our sister, of course, family of networks, if you will, our Mixler family of networks today. Make sure to check it out live on the call. That will be, well, I don't even know if we're going to have that one. I thought we had it today, but I guess not. I don't know. But anyway, you can definitely catch Matt tonight. Oregon State and USC over on USRN. So with that said, you guys, we will see y'all next week. Until then, take care. And as always, God bless.